Hello, Guenther. Welcome to the program.
Hello, hello, good morning, good evening, wherever. I don't know where you guys are, so whatever it is.
Well, I'm in Qatar still, Gunther. So, yeah, it's
But
very much evening here,
yeah,
6
it's
p.m.
very much
Where are
morning
you
in
in the
my
world?
place. I'm in the US. I'm flying to Abu Dhabi on Wednesday.
There
So,
we go. A late arrival
yeah,
to the
exactly.
final
Yeah,
race of the
better late
season.
than never. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us here on Race Industry Week. We've got plenty we can chat to you about, and I think there's a lot of people that maybe don't understand or appreciate just what it is that you've done in this sport and continue to do. Because Formula One was the headline, but that's not the only thing you've ever done. But we will start with kind of your last 12 months because it's been a pretty hectic 12 months you've had, quite a turnaround, I guess. What have you been up to since you've left Haas?
Yeah, I've been up to it's how much time have you got? And as I always say, I didn't expect this when I left Haas. I wanted to take some time off and just like turn down a little bit the speed because I did a lot in the last 10 years. Now I've done TV work this year for German TV, French TV, Australian TV, Austrian TV, everybody a little bit. I've done corporate events. What else have I done? I'm ambassador of the Miami GP. I'm ambassador of Buffalo Trace, the biggest bourbon maker in the States. Yeah, I'm keeping very busy, to be honest, so it's good, but I didn't expect, and it was not what I wanted to do in the beginning, but then, I liked it, and I kept on doing more of it.
I was going to say, were you pleasantly surprised by some of the opportunities, I guess, that were available outside of Formula One?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, they have to do all with Formula One, to be honest. But I was very surprised, as I said, pleasantly, because I didn't expect it. And but I mean, a lot of good things came to me, and a lot of new opportunities arose.
Well, we will get stuck into like the here and now, but also the future as well with you in a little bit. But I am going to take you back to the Haas days slightly, and just kind of that whole period. I mean, the whole journey you were on there. Can you believe how much the demands of Formula One changed in the 8 years you were racing?
Yeah, I mean it's Formula One, and it keeps on changing. But I think the last 8 years, I would say the last 5 years since Liberty Media took on the sport, it has changed at a different rate. I mean, but you don't see it. You're not only seeing it within a team or within the sport actually, but you see it with what it has done to the audience. I mean, the demographics, the new demographics which came in. How many people now are watching it, and I will put that one down. It happened. There were two elements: the Liberty takeover, and then COVID hit. And F1 was very good in being back as the first sport going live again. So that made it attractive to a lot of people, and they stuck with it. And then I think we have to mention Drive to Survive, which opened it as well to a lot of new people which never watched it before.
Well, Drive to Survive is one that people bring up around you, I know, all the time. But let's start with actually that first season of that coming out because you mustn't have known, or did you know how big it could be? Did you have any inkling that it could, I guess, make you this global superstar?
No, and when it was decided that we're gonna do this, it was just like another program. Yeah, let's do something, And you well know that two big teams, Mercedes and Ferrari, didn't take part because they didn't believe in it. They didn't think it wouldn't work. And then the second season, they couldn't wait to get into it. Once they saw what it did for the sport and for the people which were in it, or for the teams which were in it, not for the people. So, but I think nobody had any idea how much it would change the sport, and obviously now with hindsight, I knew this was going to happen. I had no clue about it, and I was just like, I mean, we were the smallest team, the latest team which came into it, and there was no point to say no. It was, yeah, let's do it. If it doesn't work, you cannot lose, So that was always my opinion. I mean, in investing something where there is no negatives, it's better you do it. So and not overthink it, just do it. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, fine.
Was there any, I guess, difficulties though with Ferrari? Because as you say, they didn't want to be involved in that first series, and you're a Ferrari customer. Did you have any kind of crossover with them about that?
No, honestly not. No, the Ferrari is very good. I mean, was always very good with Haas, and as long it didn't, because we didn't harm them at all, it didn't do anything bad. So they had no opinion and they didn't have any vote in what we are doing, and they didn't want to have any vote by no means.
But as you say, though, you were open to it. You saw no downside. You were always very good and kind of open about new ideas with the sport and how it could try and grow. Where do you think Formula One has done well over the last maybe 5 years, like you say? And maybe where does it need to, or did you feel it needed to improve when you were there and from what you've seen from the outside too?
I think where it has done well is now like, and as you say, I'm always very happy to new things, and I always say sometimes it's worth to try them. If there is no negative if they doesn't work, why don't try it and then say it didn't work? We go back what we knew before. But sometimes it's better to try than to simulate and to overthink stuff. Just do it. If it doesn't work, go back what you knew, what you think worked before, and try again. So I think what worked a lot, and because it goes hand in hand, and what I think they needs to do more, the sprint races for me worked very well. In the beginning, there was a lot of criticism. It takes away the DNA of the sport. Yeah, but the DNA changes well over, if you go into it, over periods of time. The DNA of people changes. Everything changes, the DNA. And I think we need to adapt. We need to stay current. And people, and maybe this sounds critical, but watching a free practice in 2024, I don't think you will attract a lot of people. I mean, it's like how many people go and watch a training sessions of a football club? There's not many. So I see it the same thing, and I think Formula One did well, and I think Stefano kept his foot down when everybody opposed it and got it done. It was from 3 to 6, and I think the next step going, what should be done better, should be that there should be 12 in future, because I think it makes the weekends a lot more interesting for whoever watches, and you're just attracted more to it. You've got action already on Friday. I call it Friday evening in Europe, it could be wherever it is, but I think that helps a lot. And that's the thing I think Formula One needs to do, to keep on giving entertainment to the people with the sport, because a lot of people complain there's too much entertainment value now. I say I don't think so, because the sport stays the same and the sport is getting better as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we've had an excellent season this year in what's been a record-breaking calendar, 24 races. As you say, if you expand the sprint to 12 sprints, that would be half of the calendar would be sprint races. Do you think there's room for even more races in Formula One? Were you someone who thought you could take it to more places? Or have we got to be careful around the sport not to oversaturate it and keep every event special?
Yeah, you hit the point there. I mean, saturation factor I was always worried, but I think that hasn't happened because the races are so different between each other. There's always something new. They're so different. If you would have 24 cookie cut races, I think there would be a saturation factor, but it isn't, because everything is different. Night races, street races, city races, whatever you've got. Making more races, I think that gets difficult logistically for everyone and for the people, for the human element as well. So uh, we all need to adapt, and maybe at some stage, if it isn't a sprint weekend, should we try to do only a 2-day weekend? Just Saturday, Sunday. Like in the moment on a sprint weekend, there is one practice session, which is fine to find a setup. 1 hour, and then it's sprint qualifying, sprint race, qualifying race. So if there is no sprint race, why not do Saturday? Just do a Saturday morning practice session, qualifying race Sunday. Why not? I think that would help as well with the logistics, especially if you do this stuff in Europe. People could be more at home and would be a little bit less stressed out, because then obviously if you do 5 races like this or 6 races like this, you gain 6 days, and you could put one more race into it. But again, F1 knows what they are doing, and they don't need my advice on it.
Well, I was going to ask that actually. Do you get to give your advice? Because you have a very unique view as someone who's just been running a Formula One team for so long and now is still involved with the sport, but maybe not running a team day to day. Do you still speak to Stefano and anyone from Formula One?
Yeah, I always speak with Stefan. Is a good friend of mine. I always speak with him, but I'm no knows that I'm a little bit of an extremist on things as well, But I tell him my ideas, but I'm not. I never say you should be doing this. I said, this is an idea I had. I tell you, you do what you want with it, because I think that's the right approach. Because I don't know the detail with the contracts and that stuff, and I'm not the guy which tells people what to do. I say, I was thinking about this, and could be a good idea. So, and sometimes, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not dwelling on it. I just say it, what I think, and then go from there.
Well, can I ask, have your views changed, do you think, about this sort of, well, any topic around Formula One since you've left the sort of full-time day-to-day of the sport and you've been able to sort of stand back a little bit?
Yes, it has changed, because now I see the bigger picture of it, Chris. You see the bigger picture because you don't have the tunnel vision of your own team. And obviously, when you have a team to run, you always try to do a lobby for your own advantage. So if you're strong somewhere, you lobby that one. You're not always impartial anymore. You're always, your own shirt is closest to your body, as you say. So that's what you do. But if you're out of it now and have no, you just see it as a sport. And as you say, I've seen a lot in the sport. And sometimes I see some things now which before I thought different about it, obviously because I had my agenda, because I needed to deliver something.
Well, that brings me on quite nicely, actually, to the fact that the majority of the teams weren't exactly happy about the idea of expansion over the last couple of years. So what do you make of the news that General Motors will be allowed to join as an 11th team in 2026?
I think with now being a works team, with being Cadillac General Motors, I think that has changed the approach a little bit. And as I said, I don't have the internal details what they presented to FOM, but I guess they explained to FOM how they could balance the shortfall for the other teams, which is coming by the pie. The pie is the pie. If you share a pie by 11, everybody gets a smaller slice than if you share it by 10. But maybe Cadillac, GM, has explained how to make the pie bigger, so for everybody it's the same size of the slice. That I guess what happened. With Cadillac coming in as a works team, and I think having manufacturers in. As we always say, manufacturers are good as long as the sport is good. I mean, but the manufacturers are the first ones to leave. I mean, we all know that story. I mean, we don't need to go back a long time. We go back to 2000, around 2009, 2010, when 3 manufacturers left all in 1 year. But obviously, Stefano and FOM know what they're doing there, and for sure they have got assurances from the manufacturers which are coming in now, like Audi in 26, and now it seems Cadillac as well in 26.
Yeah, we also have had Renault pull out this year as well as a power unit supplier. I know it'll be 26 when they leave, but it does show how it can be the manufacturers that make these decisions and kind of sometimes do move away from the sport. But what do you think that General Motors would bring to F1? Where do you think the growth would be? Is it only North America, or do you think this can benefit the sport globally?
No, I think Formula One, it's a global sport. I think the national angle of any team, it's overrated, I would say, because it's such a global sport. Because I think the only exception is Ferrari, which is a little bit the Italian national team. But all the other ones, who knows that Red Bull is actually an Austrian team? Even if they're based in England, but they're under Austrian license and under Austrian flag. So I think it has become so global, the sport. So that doesn't, obviously it's not bad that it's an American team, but it's not like that is not the main focus. I mean, it's more like I think GM and Cadillac are going into the sport not for the American market. They go in for the global market, obviously, because they want to bring their brand to the world. I mean, because Cadillac is pretty big in the States, but the rest of the world is not this big brand. But Formula One could put it on the global map as a premier car manufacturer.
Well, I've firmly got my racer Formula One journalist hat on right now when I ask if a new Formula One team was looking for someone with good experience that might know the sport and has run a team recently. Have they reached out to you yet?
No, with your hat on, no, but I think they need to define what they want to do. And I'm no hurry. I don't apply for the job, to be honest, Chris. I've got plenty of other things going on in my life. So, I've done this job, and for me, it needs to be a project, not just a job to do something, and I think there's enough people around which they need to find their own way to do things.
But if they did reach out and say, can you consult on this? Would you like to be part of this? I guess, do you feel like you have the skill set for anyone in Formula One where you can really give them good direction if they're wanting to come in? Because you not only have run a team, but you helped set up a team in 2016 with Haas.
I would say I've got the skill set, but again, I said before, for me, I think the time is over to go in at 7 o'clock in the morning and leave at 10 o'clock at night, 365 days a year. Not that I don't want to do it, but if I do it, it needs to be different project, I would say. But as to consult, obviously, I always listen to people because I'm respectful of people, so I would listen to it, but by no means I would be desperate to get a job.
Well, you've got plenty on your plate already, as you said a little bit earlier. I wanted to kind of touch base on some of the other aspects of your motorsport history. And you've got your own composites company, which I'm not sure that many people know all that much about. I mean, just how big is the operation that you run?
We are just moving in, or we are in the process of moving in a new facility, which is 120,000 square foot. And we have got about 250 people employed now. So it's pretty good. But I must say my business partner runs it. Joe Hoffman is my business partner. He runs it because obviously when I was running the F1 team, I couldn't dedicate any day-to-day time. I mean, I speak, I would say daily with Joe. We are good friends as well, so we have got good communication, but the day-to-day business he runs on his own. He doesn't need me. And it was no point to jump in now because it's going well. So the only thing I can do is mess it up, basically, So I don't want to take that risk. So I leave it to Joe to run the company. But I'm obviously involved in the strategic decisions with Joe, but because we own it together. But the rest is with him. But no, it's a company. We established it in 2009. We started the first 5 years I worked there. And I ran it, and then I took on the F1 project for Haas, and then Joe jumped in and ran it since then. But it's a good business. I mean, it has grown a lot, obviously, because we started off. I think it was about 5 people in 2009, and now to get to 250. But also, it's a lot of responsibility because it's a lot more difficult to run a company with 250 people than with 5 people, because if something goes wrong, it goes wrong big, So, but I'm not afraid of that because I think it is it is a technology which for the future is pretty safe. We just need to do a good job.
Yeah, and how wide-ranging is it, the kind of reach that you have in motorsport with the company, though? I guess, it's not just going to be one department and one area that you guys are involved in.
No, it's not. But we have involved quite a lot with the NASCAR project, with the latest car, which the spec car, almost spec car, because it's not completely spec, but almost spec car. And we do jobs for different racing series, but it's not only racing cars. I mean, we are in defense and aeronautics as well, because I think racing, there is a limitation to it. The volume of it. It's obviously it's a market which is quite. You can figure out quite quickly, and you cannot. I always think nobody should ever have the whole market, because that doesn't make you good. You need competition to run your own company good, So, so we do not want to have all the racing market. We want to be in other fields. There's so many fields which use composites, but the racing market for sure. It is very important because it pushes always the technology, because in racing, you always try to do more, and the technology you develop there, you can then use for different applications in different industries. So it's a very good market, and especially talking about F1. F1 in these days, the supplier base is less and less because of the budget cap. All the teams invested in their own manufacturing facilities, and the departments, capital expenditure, and people. So they do a lot themselves, but it's still, there's work out there, and it always pushes the technology, as I said, for composites.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking specifically about what you've been involved in there, though, you said you did the first 5 years there. 15 years now the company's been going. To grow that much is very impressive. how have you seen the demands of the motorsport industry change in that time, if at all? Because, do you feel like it's actually not evolved that much, or has it changed a lot?
It changed a lot. It changed a lot. I think it got all, everything is much more engineering driven. Everything has now got these days. When we started, a lot of things were just were still made a little bit, as I say, put together, practically by now everything, because all the racing has got CAD systems. Everything is there. Everything it has evolved quite a lot. And one of the big aspects is not only the performance and the response time of a supplier, which is important. It's also the price gets more and more important year by year, because everything gets more competitive, and you need to keep up with it, But it has changed a lot in a good way, in my opinion. It has become a lot more professional, a lot more advanced, and a lot better for the people involved in it, because you can plan a lot better. And if you can plan a lot better, you make a lot of companies, industries, more sustainable for the future, gives job security for people and things like this, which I think it's very important.
Well, having seen that, I guess, increase in professionalism in different aspects of motorsport, where does Formula One stack up compared to them? Is it a totally different world, or is it just a refined version of other motorsport categories?
Something in between, because it is a different world, but the different world, you can adapt them. But Formula One, this always pushes the envelope, because there is money there. We can say what we want. We always try to do the impossible to make it happen. And once you have developed the technology, then you just have to try to find a way to make it the price better, get the price down, because Formula One, and also the quantities in Formula One, they are relatively small. You've got 2 cars, that's it. But while other racing series have got a lot of cars, and obviously you couldn't spend the money Formula One is spending. So you develop a technology, and then you try to industrialize it, call it like this, that you make it more affordable for other racing series, or even other aeroplane, aircraft and stuff like this, But Formula One obviously pushes the envelope all the time. So that is the advantage of having Formula One around. I mean, materials which are developed in Formula One, just to be quicker with making parts, to make them lighter. I mean, it's always make them stronger. It's always the demand from Formula One which pushes the envelope.
I was going to say, do you see a lot of that trickling out into other areas of the world, other industries? And does
Yes.
enough of it happen in that way? Because I feel like when we brought the new power unit regulations in 2014, there wasn't enough talking about what brilliant technology it was and how it might benefit the wider world.
I think in manufacturing like composites and stuff like this, it's a little bit more, and it takes a little bit of time. It is not like a Formula One does it, the next year somebody else does it. But if you go and look for something, then or all the supply chain tries to make the materials which they develop for Formula One, because they need to keep on selling. So the supply market, they then sell it on and develop it further and making it cheaper. Because the first time when you make it, it costs a lot of money because you've never done it. And then you think about it, how to make it cheaper. I think with the power unit, it's actually unfortunate. I think that was just too complex of a technology for a road car. I think the technology is fantastic, because the efficiency. It's never anything like this happened before. But it's just like, I think it was a little bit too complex, and then it also moved into this EV hype at the time. So it was a little bit pushed aside, in my opinion. If the EV hype wouldn't have come up, I think some people would have tried to, industrialize it to make it affordable for road cars as well. But at the time, everybody just jumped into EV. And now I think we are past the stage, and I think they can, in the new combustion engine, they will find the same advantages by making them simpler and not this expensive. The efficiency of the combustion engine will go that way, like the F1 power units in the moment. But the thing what we learned, it is actually doable. Before, nobody would have thought this efficiency of a combustion engine will be ever achieved. It was achieved. Now we can look at it and say it was achieved. Now we need to replicate it and make it available for the mass market.
Yeah, it's certainly. I think that's a very, very good point. Now, we've got a few more minutes left, and I want to kind of bring it back around to you and your position. Certainly from an F1 perspective, can you believe the platform that F1 has given both yourself, but many other big figures in the sport, in terms of everyone's so famous now, or certainly appear to be from the outside?
Everybody's so famous. Wow. That is something. Everybody's so famous. He is now famous, Chris, you know. You put me on a spot once, you know, where both of us got famous, you know, for something I didn't say, by the way, you know. But anyway, well done, you know, for you getting famous, you know. Uh, how should it's nobody would have expected it, and you could not try to do this. This is things which happen in life, you know, they happen because if you have a plan to do this, I think to make it happen, nobody could come up with a plan like this, you know. It is just like there was a few instances which helped it, and I say COVID. I mean, I'm not saying COVID was good. COVID was a very bad thing for the world. You know, a lot of people died. You know, but what it helped, some of the things it helped, and one of the things with this Drive to Survive, which a lot of people watched under COVID because they were bored of watching everything else because they watched it already 3 times. You know, and you know, and I think Box to Box, the company which did the series for Netflix, they did a good job. I mean, I didn't watch it, but they must have done a good job. Otherwise, not millions and millions of people watched it, you know. And I think that is what TV does. If you're in this series, it happens. I mean, there is a lot of TV series which I think when they were launched, nobody expected to get this to get the people this famous, you know. But it's one of these things happen. So you know. And unfortunately or fortunately, I was part of it, you know, and you were part of it as well, you know. So I have to blame you as well, you know.
Yeah, sorry for my part, but definitely would say fortunately for the platform it has given. And using that then, looking ahead, 2025, you've probably got a bit more scope and visibility to plan out your next year than maybe you did 12 months ago. So what's the future looking like for Guenther Steiner?
The future, I'm now negotiating when the TV contracts, as you well know, they are only done in December, January. That's your TV industry, you know, being prepared for it, you know, well organized. But for sure, I do some of that. I'm already committed to the Australian GP with Network 10 in Australia. I'm Miami GP ambassador again for next year, doing already some work for them this year. I do a book tour for my second book. I forgot. I forgot the name now about it.
Isn't it? Well, it was Surviving to Drive, wasn't it?
No, it's the second book.
Your unfiltered one.
Unfiltered, yeah, came out 10th of October. I did the first book tour, which I just finished 2 weeks ago in the UK. I do a second one. We do a leg in Australia, and then we do another more than 30 events in the UK again from April to July. So. I mean, I'm getting scared now just talking about how busy I am, you know, because it's like, wow. Yes, that's what I'm going to do, Chris. Don't worry about me being unemployed, you know. I'm pretty happy.
Well, it does sound like you're going to be very, very busy. So I think on that note, I should let you get on with your workload, Guenther. But thank you so much for joining us here on Race Industry Week.
No, thanks for having me. Thank you, guys.
EPARTRADE is a digital platform that we've created basically to make life easier in the business community of auto racing.
EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier.
When you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information, and then from there it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
EPARTRADE really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Looking for a quick fix of motorsports news? The Speed Sport Daily is what you need. It's a free racing newsletter delivered directly to your email every day. We'll cover the winners and the losers and tell you who's making news off the track. It's NASCAR, NHRA, World of Outlaw, IndyCar, and so much more. Go to speedsport.com today and get signed up for America's free racing newsletter and get your daily motorsports fix. The Speed Sport Daily.
Land speed record holder George Poteet's Speed Demon rocketed 481 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. You don't go that fast without ARP fasteners.
There is no way that we could go the speed that we've gone, the number of times we've gone, with a lesser quality bolt than ARP supplies to us. And we absolutely wouldn't be where we were today if it weren't for ARP.
When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
We're Performance Plus Global Logistics. Our team of dedicated performance industry and logistics experts get valuable cars and components to the track on time in top condition. We provide expedited logistics solutions for the performance industry using direct routes instead of deferred options, and communicate all necessary information to the appropriate resources to meet regulations and ensure a smooth transit and secure delivery, both domestically and internationally. And we exceed customer expectations by providing best-in-class service with an efficient and cost-effective system in place. Contact us today to book your next shipment.
Scott Lewis & Associates, the sales, marketing, and branding specialist for the automotive performance industry since 1988. We get our manufacturers on track by opening an extensive distribution network, providing product training to sales staff, creating fully integrated sales and marketing strategies, building successful industry partnerships, attending trade shows, events, and races, offering first-class support to customers. SLAI delivers solutions that win you sales. To get in touch with an SLAI representative, call 516-378-6100. Go to scottlewisinc.com or email info@scottlewisinc.com.
With roots in the Midwest that date back well before the Model T, Fifth Third Bank has a long history of serving the needs of automotive companies. While much has changed over the years, our passion for helping businesses put cars on the road and on the track has not. Today, we are more committed than ever as a member of SEMA, a founding member of PRI, and a sponsor of multiple race teams across several racing series.
For over a decade, Fifth Third Bank has been a staunch supporter of our industry and a great partner for many companies in the motorsports field.
Our business has been growing extremely fast, and really we could not be where we are today without Fifth Third. They provided amazing strategic advice, the capital we need to support our phases of growth.
They are true partners for me now, and what they do with their involvement in motorsports is untouched in this community.
Where can we take your business? Fifth Third Bank.
You work as hard as your truck, and you have no time for downtime. That's why more truck owners trust Blue Def, America's #1 diesel exhaust fluid brand. Each batch is guaranteed pure, so you can avoid costly repairs caused by inferior DEF. Demand America's best for your truck. Blue Def and Blue Def Platinum. Put trust in your truck.
When it comes to pushing the limits of performance, the pros know there's no room for compromise. At Crowler Cams, we don't just engineer camshafts and valve train components, we redefine what power means. Since 1955, Crowler Cams has been the name trusted by racers, engine builders, and gearheads around the globe. Whether you're building a street machine, a dragster, or a track car, Crowler Cams provides the muscle you need to dominate. And with Crowler, victory is within your reach.
For over 25 years, Wisconsin-based CTech Manufacturing has been engineering and manufacturing the toughest, most accessible aluminum tool drawers, cabinets, carts, and tactical storage solutions for America's hardest working professionals. Whatever you need to store and however you need to store it, put your trust in CTech Manufacturing. We build it better. Visit our new website at ctechmanufacturing.com or give us a call at 715-355-8842.
If you're watching this video, you might be wondering, what is WPC? WPC is a surface treatment designed to reduce friction and increase the strength of metal parts. As much as it might seem like a coating, WPC is actually a surface treatment. Think of it like shot painting, but the media is much finer, like talc. So what you're left with is a super hard, smooth surface that actually has some proprietary dry lubricants embedded within it. For more information, visit WPCtreatment.com.